Hey everybody, it's GoblinX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today I'll be playing another Arena Cube Draft. This is the format that is a curated list of the strongest rares and mythics on Arena. There are like some strong commons and uncommons as well, but because of the whole curated list thing, it is a phantom draft format. We don't keep any of these cards, just what we get on the prize tracker as rewards. Other than that, it's just a pretty fun, super powerful draft format, and that's all there is to it. So without further ado, let's hop into our pack one, pick one. We've got Minsk and Boo, which is a pretty powerful planeswalker. Tiny bit slow for cube. It is a 5-mana planeswalker, but it's still very, very high impact. Basically 5 mana for a 4/4 trample haste at worst, even if Minsk and Boo dies immediately. Still have that 4/4 trample haste Boo. So it's 2 threats and a can, which is really nice. Meat Hook Massacre is insane, but they did remove its ability to gain life. It's actually not quite as good as it used to be. Since this is the alchemy version, it's less good in a more controlling deck where you really want that life gain to really get you back in the game where you wrath and gain some life. Still a very good card though. Other than that, as always, tons of great options. If we really want to just go straight into mono red, I could just take Play with Fire like a dork or Beaumont Courier. But I think I'm going to take Minsk and Boo. It's a pretty fun planeswalker. They're pretty hilarious too.
I've got one
big scary hamster.
So everyone form a line.
So we'll go for it there. 5 mana 4/4 trample haste. That comes with a planeswalker. Alright, pick 2 here. We've got Life of Toshiro Umezawa, which has been a huge overperformer for me. If you have not seen my last couple decks, I ran Life of Toshiro Umezawa in both of them, my Black-White Aristocrats deck and my Blue-Black Control deck, and both times it just managed to kill so many 1-toughness creatures that I didn't even know were in the cube. So I actually think Life of Toshiro Umezawa was pretty good. At first I thought it was kind of a bait, where it's like, yeah, you remember how good this was in Kamigawa. But I think it's generally legit here. There's nothing really for red-green. There's like Green Seeker, which is fine. It gets you out of Mana Flood by pulling those lands directly into your hand, so you can draw the next card under them instead, which is fine. I mean, I would run it, but I don't know I'd take it that highly. Honestly, there's nothing here I'd take that highly for any strategy. Just a bunch of fine stuff. Expertise kind of gets you back into the game later. Ranger of Eos is fine if you have a lot of 1-drop aggressive white creatures. Pretty great with like Machias, like the X-mana creatures. I'm just going to take this Green Seeker. I could even see an argument for Forsaken Crossroads, basically just Terramorphic Expanse or Evolving Wilds, one of those lands that comes to play tapped, gives you whatever color you choose. Just go with the Dryad Green Seeker, see if I get to play the fun, just like green-red trample, beat sticks kind of deck. Well, we get one of the best green cards in the cube, Tovolar's Huntmaster. 6 mana for a 6/6 and 2 2/2s, worst case scenario. It's 10 power and toughness for 6 mana, which is absolutely ridiculous. If you flip tonight, it's even better. It's just an absolutely absurd card. It is 6 mana, however, and there are a lot of powerful high mana cost cards in the cube, so I do generally like to take the powerful cheap cards before the powerful expensive cards, but Electrostatic Blast is just solid. Obviously, it's pretty great if you have a lot of instants and sorceries, but just in your general like red-green deck, I don't think it's actually going to be that great. Yeah, I'm just going to go for the Huntmaster here. As for the strongest off-color cards, Brazen Bar is very efficient. It's a nice piece of interaction. Jadar is very good in the sacrifice decks as a way to keep getting sacrifice fodder. Showdown's great in Boros, a big way to refuel while still buffing your field. Alright, I don't love Ovea Pashiri, she's fine, but she's pretty slow. 3 mana tap, make a 1/1. These are the kind of abilities that are not impactful enough for you to ever want to use until you're completely out of other spells to cast, because it's going to be the least efficient thing you can do with your mana, so I'm not very high on her. For off-color cards, we are mainly in green here, so we could try to push to green and a different secondary color. We've got Allrund, which is kind of a card draw engine. 5 mana for a 1/1, +1/+1 for each card in your hand, and Foretold card you own. And at the end step, reveal the top 3 cards of your library, put all cards of the chosen type into your hand. So if you just keep picking lands, you can start flooding in lands, or you keep picking creatures, you'll draw lands now and then. It's a pretty great card draw engine. It is a bit slow, 5 mana to play it, but pretty good. IR is not really going to work out unless we're mono black, very restrictive mana cost. Malevolent Hermit is pretty solid for blue. Charming Prince is whatever, these black cards are whatever. Yeah, I think Allrund's probably the best, or we just take a Triome here, like the green-red Triome. Alright, well, Inscription of Abundance is pretty great in green, but Shark Typhoon's pretty good in blue. I don't think Shark Typhoon's really at its best in blue-green, but it's still a really good card. The cycling ability is just so efficient. For 3 mana, you get a 1/1 flyer at instant speed and draw a card. That's the worst it can be. 4 mana 2/2 flyer, 5 mana a 3/3 flyer. Sure, we're never going to hard cast Shark Typhoon in a blue-green deck, but it's still probably pretty good. I'm going to take it here. Maybe we'll even get pushed off of green. There is only one green card in the pack. It is a good one, though, Inscription of Abundance. Green doesn't have a ton of interaction in this cube, so Inscription of Abundance is a pretty good pickup if you are definitely going green, because it's a flexible piece of interaction. Well, we're blue. That's a late Torrential Gearhulk. This card's been absurd in every single cube they've ever put it in because the card is just absurd. And we do have Kaladesh Remastered drafts coming back in a little over a week now, I think, so maybe we'll get to see this in a regular draft format. Maybe this is a good omen for us if we keep getting to draft these Torrential Gearhulks. Maybe I'll get to draft one in Kaladesh Remastered. That would be really rude. Alright, the green has really dried up here. We do have a Dismiss for blue. Pretty solid counterspell. Counter something and draw a card. Nice 2-for-1. You have to hold a lot of mana up for it, so ideally you're playing a deck with a lot of instant speed stuff to do. That way you don't get completely hosed by not casting a counterspell during that turn. But it is pretty great if you can get a lot of flash stuff. So we're kind of just blue flash here. They didn't put any green flash cards in this cube, I think. But yeah, that's like really good with Torrential Gearhulk as well. Turn Torrential Gearhulk into a 3-for-1. That's hilarious. Delver's fine if you have a high instant sorcery count. Obviously, a 1 mana 3/2 flyer is a really good deal. But it'll take a little while to flip it. Even if you have like 12 instants in your deck, it takes a few turns to flip it on average. Could take Sanctum if I'm definitely going blue-green here, but I think I'd rather play Otawara. I think at this point it's kind of turned out into me just definitely playing blue this draft. Everything else is kind of up for grabs. So Otawara here is just going to be better than an island. Just a strictly better island. An island that if we top deck late game when we don't need lands, turns into an unsummon to bounce something back to the owner's hand. Right, I like Jonathan Harker. It's basically Merfolk Looter. Sure, it doesn't work with any graveyard interaction and stuff, but rarely do you have Merfolk Looter in cube and have graveyard interaction anyway. And this is one that maybe flips into a win condition late game as well. So it's a pretty nice looter. I like the Jonathan Harker. It's fine here. Probably the best card here. Tameshi's pretty good too, but that does tie us into 2 colors, tie us to blue-white. Tameshi's also really, really slow. Primal Might is good interaction for green, but I'm actually kind of moving off of green here because a lot of our blue spells just don't really pair that well with green. Like Gearhulk, we're not going to have a lot of green instants. Shark Typhoon, again, we're not going to have a lot of green instants. Dismiss, trying to hold up a counterspell when we're also trying to just tap out for big green creatures. Those don't synergize super well, so go for Ojutai's Command here, go for blue-white. Counter creature spell, draw a card. I will take Command over that blue mythic land. That was tempting, because it's kind of similar to Otawara, where it's going to be strictly better than an island in our deck. But I think a blue-white control deck could work pretty well for us. Gain 4 life counter creature spell is actually a big deal against the aggro decks too. Yeah, Ojutai's Command seems good. Definitely like portable hole here against aggro. Ice Manipulator would be fine too. Find that that's probably a little slow for cube. We are wheeling the good white cards here. Now we have Charming Prince, 2 mana for a 2/2, gain 3 life. Solid little play to slow down the aggro. Banishing Slash, a little hard to cast, and I'm pretty much never going to get a Samurai off this. We need an artifact and enchantment on board. So I'm going to go Charming Prince over that. Now we have Rescuer Chwinga. Blue-white has a moderate flicker theme, so this might be better than Remorseful Cleric. Remorseful Cleric will be better if we try to actually go aggro. Yeah, I'm going to take Cleric. I don't even think Chwing is that good, even if you have the flicker theme. Definitely opt here. And we're looking pretty blue-white at this point. Whew. Open the number 1 card we could have opened here. Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. This card is ridiculous. Teferi was an absolute house in Standard. The main piece that made the blue-white control decks really work quite well. Such a powerful card. You can +1 to draw a card and untap 2 lands, giving you the 2 mana you need for your negate, your cheap little counterspell. You can tuck something away with the -3, keep it off of you. And if you get to the ultimate, that ultimate wins the game real fast. Exiling a permanent every time you draw a card. Absolutely brutal. So Teferi's wonderful here. We would love to wheel Fading Hope, would be my number 1 choice, but Spectral Sailor's also pretty good, then probably the dual land, and then the Omen of the Sea. I think that'd be my pick order here.
I'm not going to sit this one out.
No, you are not, Teferi. You are coming into this deck and you are going to do some nasty things. So I've been really impressed by Suspicious Stowaway lately, to the point where I might take it over an Elesh Norn. Elesh Norn is a big 7-drop that can probably, when it's the game, it like clears out the board, but we're not going to have like a super wide board to buff anything. It's just like playing a 4/7, shutting our opponent's cards off. Elesh Norn's definitely good, but I really, really, really like Stowaway lately. And it's really good in a deck with a lot of instant speed cards like our deck, where we can play this and then on turn 3 we can just pass immediately and flip it. Yeah, I like Stowaway a lot. Ledger Shredder is also pretty powerful. I haven't really played with it much though in Cube or any historic kind of formats, so that might be better than Stowaway, but I'm still going to go with Stowaway. I've just been incredibly impressed by it lately. And if you want to know why, then that would be another one. Just check out my last draft, the blue-black control deck. That card was incredible. OG is one of the main flicker pieces for blue-white. Don't think we have any great enter the battlefield effects. Torrential Gearhulk is the #1, but I don't actually have that many instants that I could flicker during our turn. Most of the instants are going to be things that I have to cast in opponent's turns, like counter spells. Don't actually think OG's that great here, and we should almost definitely wheel OG, so I'm just going to take Merfolk Trickster. Another creature that we can play at instant speed, so it helps us hold our counterspells up. And then if we don't need a counterspell, we drop this creature down. It can also slow down our opponents pretty well, maybe kill a creature out of nowhere. Trickster seems pretty good. Now we have a Seal Away or Jwari Disruption. Love both of those. Hengegate Pathway is also huge. Nice blue-white duel. I think I want to focus primarily on blue here. It looks like we already have a heavier focus on blue, and that's going to make hitting 2 blue sources turn 2 easier if we have like 10 islands, 7 plains. Do something like that. So take Jwari Disruption here over Seal Away. Jwari Disruption is definitely way better than Glasspool Mimic. Just being able to counter something for only 2 is really good, and then if it isn't going to work out for you, just play it as land. Yeah, I like Disruption a lot here, but maybe I'm supposed to take Pathway. I might be taking the lands a little too low here, but who knows? I'm taking Jwari Disruption there. And I'm going to keep taking counter spells. We're going to take Exclude here. There are a bunch of white cards in this pack, but they are all aggro cards. Dauntless Bodyguard, the 1-mana 2/1 that saves another creature. Intrepid Adversary, the card that anthems. It buffs all of your other creatures. And Unbreakable Formation buffs all of your creatures. All 3 of these cards are just for aggro, so they're not great. I'm going to take Exclude. I guess a Gandra would be fine here. A land that doubles as a removal spell. But I like Exclude. Had some good experiences with it in my last deck. We'll try it out again here. Castle Vantress is definitely good for us, but Blade Splicer is really good with like Charming Prince. And if we get any other flicker effects, it'll be quite good if we wheel the OG. I'm actually pretty impressed by this, even as just a blocker. Even if you're not an aggressive deck, 3 mana to get a 1/1 and a 3/3, so if they have a removal spell, they're still only killing one of your 2 creatures, even if you are only leaving behind a 1/1. So I actually do like Blade Splicer. Castle Vantress is pretty good, though. If you ever run out of things to do, being able to scry later in the game is really nice. Gale's interesting, but Gale's also Alchemy, and I don't really want to read all that right now, so I'm just going to take Blade Splicer. Oh, Supreme Will is beautiful. This is a counterspell and a draw spell all in one, so if you can counter something, you do, and if you can't, you just draw your cards. 2 really good aggro cards here, History and Luminarch Aspirant. Both of those are actually so powerful, they would even be good in this deck, even though we're not aggro. But I think Supreme Will is just the nuts here. So we're going to take it. Ooh, Obscura Polymorphist. Polymorphist. I'm guessing it's Polymorphist. That doesn't sound right to me. This is pretty good, because it's going to slow your opponent down. Worst case scenario, it's kind of like a 3-mana 2/2 where you bounce their creature. Best case scenario, you exile their early game creature and they just draw 1 for later in the game that you could just counter with your big late game counter spells. I think this is going to be the best card for us there. We just really want the nice ways to slow down the aggro decks, and then we can take things over with the big late game plays. For the same reason, I'm probably going to go Fading Hope here. This has just been really impressive, really cheap interaction. I'm going to take it over Spectral Sailor here, which is really good with our counter spells. This might be wrong, but I'm going to take Spectral Sailor. This card's incredible. If your deck has nothing but instant speed spells, especially a lot of counter spells, then anytime your opponent just passes turn without casting something, you get to draw a card. You always get to hold all of your mana up at absolutely no risk. Maze Mind Tome is some solid card draw that gains you some life relatively early to stem the bleeding against aggro. Speculate on a red splash. Get the blue-white duel to wheel to us and the seal away. I don't have a ton of ways to get rid of things that have already hit the board, so maybe it's the seal away here. I don't know, I've got like polymorphist and stuff we can try to use. Probably supposed to be seal away, but I don't want to end up with a deck with absolutely no ways to mana fix. I like a 2-mana 3/1 lifelink in here, I think. Just play a 2-mana 3/1 lifelink, trade it into their attacking creature is fine. Actually think Gale's probably better than Savior. We have a lot of instants and sorceries. Last pick History Manalia, I'm gonna play that. Don't actually need to be aggro for this to be good. It's still gonna be 2 blockers off of 1 card. Wow. Yeah, blue-white is wide open. I'm pretty happy with that. And now we have another big late-game win condition, the Sune's Intervention. Get 2/2/2, seek an online permanent with mana value 3 or less, destroy an artifact enchantment and gain 3. I guess it's not the craziest thing ever, but it's probably better than 3-bit Inspector, Pilgrim's Eye, or Terramander, and we're probably going to wheel all 3 of those if the last pack was anything to go by, so we'll take the Intervention. Probably the best out of the others is the Terramander here, but 3-bit Inspector is also quite good. Pilgrim's Eye is fine. Intervention's definitely the best to work with our Gear Hulk specifically. Okay, we've got a blue-white dual land we can hopefully wheel. We wheeled the last one, so we're gonna count on that. We've got a Sea Tower Imprisonment to actually get rid of something on board and put a 2/1 down at the same time. So removal and a creature, which I'm a big fan of. It does cost double white, which is a little hard because blue's our main color. Solemn Vision's pretty nice because, again, it's one of these lands that can cycle and just draw a non-land card out of our deck instead. Wedding Announcement's pretty huge too. This actually doesn't have to be in a dedicated aggro deck because it's still kind of a card draw, kind of a 3-for-1. Ideally you have more creatures though, so you can maybe draw some cards off of it. That is a lot of cards for the cost. I think I'm just going for Sea Tower Imprisonment here and hoping to wheel Deserted Beach. If that doesn't wheel, Solemn Vision almost definitely does. Okay. Wow, we have the Search for Azcanta Teferi deck. I actually think Search for Azcanta is kind of a little slow and awkward in Cube. Spend 2 mana just to surveil for a while. I do really like Thassa's Intervention. It's very similar to Supreme Will, where it's going to counter something big, or it's going to be our big card draw if we don't end up countering something. Multiple Choice is really good too, though, but we have to treat it as a 5-drop or higher. 5 mana to get a 4/4, bounce one of our opponent's cards, scry 1, draw a card. A lot of decent options, but I think Thassa's Intervention is my favorite, and hopefully we wheel Search for Azcanta or Multiple Choice. I'm okay with either of those. Search for Azcanta, the reason it's so tempting is because it was really good in Standard alongside Teferi, because Teferi would untap and you could do it twice. Stuff like that was really rude. Alright, we have a Celestius, which is actually... This has seen some play in some control decks, because you are, you know, flipping between day and night now and then, gaining a life, drawing a card, discarding a card. Ramps us into our bigger plays. I actually think Celestius is actually fine here. We probably have enough counter spells to not take Disallow, and Elspeth doesn't really work in a deck that doesn't have a very high creature count. She needs to be able to put those counters on creatures or find creatures out of your top 7 cards. So Elspeth doesn't really work for us. It's really just Celestius or Disallow. I think I'm more missing on Celestius style cards than counter spells. Alright, here's a blue-white dual land, the Rafine's Tower. We're not playing an Isamaru. Storm Timber would be okay, but Prosperous Thief doesn't really do anything. Just gonna take the blue-white duel. Got an Ephemerate, which is funny, but again, I don't have that many enter the battlefield effects. I have a couple that are fine, like Polymorphist and Trickster, Blade Splicer, Gale. I really think I have enough, though. I'm just going to take Consider, really cheap card draw. Lunarch Venom would be okay in here, too. Nice cheap play to gain some life throughout the game. But I'm taking Consider here. Well, Mind Flayer is ridiculous if your opponent can't blow it up. But it's pretty easy to blow up. It's just a 3/3. Puppet Stitcher, I'm not a big fan of this. It just takes too long to flip this to actually have 3/3s, and getting Decayed Zombies does not really matter for your average deck that has a lot of instant sorceries. Gideon's pretty solid, can exile some stuff. but pretty aggro too. I'll just go for the Mind Flayer here. And we'll hope we can protect it enough. Cybus Siphoner is a good alchemy card, right? Return an instant sorcery from graveyard to hand. It's instant speed as well, and you shuffle it back into your library. This feels like a better Gale. Maybe play it for cheap. Felidar Retreat's really good too, though. Landfall, just keep making 2/2s. I'd go Felidar Retreat as a win con, just 2/2 every time we play a land. Okay, we have 3-bit Inspector and we have Terramander. I really like getting another cheap creature that I'm very okay with just chumping with. So might take 3-bit Inspector for that over Terramander. Terramander's another cheap creature that can double as a win con, though. You know what? We'll go Terramander. I've got a pretty good amount of cheap counters and stuff. We can just like play Terramander, keep countering everything they do, and then maybe just buff it, kill our opponent. I'm going to take the blue-white duel over Salundi Vision, although I do think Salundi Vision's good. Just love me some duels. We did not wheel any of the cards we wanted out of this pack, and now they're all poop. I guess Symmetry Sage is maybe attacking as a 3/3 flyer, but probably not getting played. Nothing else is, though. Wheeled Disallow, I'll play that. Wheeled the Storm Tamer and the Prosperous Thief. I think I like Storm Tamer the best now that we've got a lot of the cheap, just 1-mana, 1/1 flyers, like a lot of the mono blue tempo cards. We've got the Poppet Stitcher as well as an option. We've got plenty of options in this deck. This is going to be a spicy one. Blue-white control here. Alright, so we have 52 cards here. We get to cut 12 of them. First and foremost, I think I need to read Gale. 4 mana for a 2/3. When it enters battlefield, if you cast it, return an instant sorcery from your grave to hand, so you can't flicker it. And then when you specialize it, you can draw a card and discard a card every time you cast an instant sorcery, and it's just a 4/5. It's actually not that great. Or get a 1/1 flyer when you cast an instant sorcery. These are like fine specializes, but you need the extra card later in the game. You need the extra mana to do it. Gale's actually not massively impressive to me. Probably still gonna run him, but I'd run him over Poppet Stitcher. Okay, we're cutting 12 cards. We're a control deck, so we do not need a strict amount of creatures here. We can cut a lot of these if we want. We don't really like Symmetry Sage. A lot of the times we'll be casting our instants and sorceries is during our opponent's turn. Definitely like the Spectral Sailor. The other flyers are a little more replaceable. Especially the Storm Tamer. Adversary, sure, it's a 2-mana 3/1 lifelink to try to block with, but not really using the buff ability later in the game. Don't love the Remorseful Cleric. We do have Stowaway and Jonathan, which is mildly redundant, and Stowaway is better. Jonathan is still fun and pretty good. Definitely want the 3-drop creatures here. Definitely want all these big creatures. I guess I cut these 4 and then we have to cut 8 non-creatures. Still? Maybe I am cutting Jonathan here. Just a little bit slow. And we do have Stowaway doing a very similar thing. 0/2 body's just not really big enough to block anything anyway, so we might as well be doing the one that fully draws and discards and sometimes just full-on draws. Because Jonathan's ability to block is pretty relevant. So now we cut 7 non-creature cards. How are we looking on card draw? Is there any creatures that draw cards? Torrential Gearhulk's a 2-for-1 sort of card draw. Mind Flayer's a 2-for-1. Alrund is definitely card draw. Gale is card draw from our grave. Stowaway can turn into card draw off of Werewolf. Spectral Sailor's card draw. We're actually pretty good on that front. We maybe aren't a Maze Mind Tome deck. We even have a bunch of non-creature card draw like Teferi, Ojutai's Command, Celestius is card filtering its draw and discard. So Maze Mind Tome's probably just the first cut here. I might consider an opt a lot. Portable Hull's fine. There will be matchups where this sucks, but this is so good in the matchups against the aggro decks. The mono red, the mono white, the Rakdos, the Boros. Anything in between. Is a potential cut, though. Celestius is maybe a little slow. History Benalia is maybe a little slow. Felidar Retreats may be a little slow. Even Imprisonment here. I have to cut 6 more cards. Cutting all of these doesn't even finish the deck still. We should probably cut a land here. I have Consider and Opt as 1-mana ways to try to seek out another land. And I have specifically Dry Disruption that I can play as Dry Ruins, which is kind of another land. So alright, we're going to cut a land, and then I still need to cut 5 cards, so I could just cut these 5. And History of Benalia and Sea Tower Imprisonment are definitely the most powerful 2 cards that I'm cutting. But they're also double white, and my deck is mainly blue, so I can make the mana easier by cutting down on white a bit here, which I'm cutting pretty much all white cards. Doing this. I'm actually pretty down for that jam. Pretty heavy focus on blue, a little bit of a white splash here. Very counterspell heavy deck. I like that. Swap these lands around, do something more like this. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 blue sources, 5, 6, 7, 8 white sources. Feels pretty correct to me. We've got like double blue cards on turn 2 and turn 3 and turn 4. The only double white card we have is on turn 6. Or at 6 mana, I should say. And I didn't even count Disruption as a blue source, so it's 12 blue sources and 7 white sources. 8 white sources. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 12 blue sources, 5, 6, 7, 8 white. Seems good to me. I think this is the deck. I think I'm going to run it like this. Alright, here we are with the final deck for today. It's going to be a blue-white control deck. We've got a lot of the similar cards we had in our blue-black control deck, like the Spectral Sailor that we can flash out. Some good counter spells like Disallow, Supreme Will, Exclude, Dismiss, Ojutai's Command. Tons of counters and stuff, and when we're not countering spells, we can be flashing out Spectral Sailor, drawing cards off of it, flashing in a Trickster, maybe playing instant speed card draw, which Supreme Will and Thassa's Intervention gives us, or Consider an Opt. And just got a lot of big late game plays again. We have Teferi, which takes over the game as a ridiculous Planeswalker, Alrind, which can take over the game with the amount of card draw it gives us. Shark Typhoon, if we hardcast the front half, can win the game, but we can also just make a big flying shark and win the game with that too, and we can do that early if we need a blocker. Sune's Intervention is a big 3-for-1. Torrential Gearhulk is probably our number 1 win condition. Just a big beat stick that casts something from the grave for free. A lot of really nice stuff going for this deck. It's going to be very annoying for our opponents to play against, and hopefully we can just irritate them out of the game. So without further ado, let's head into round 1. Alright, we are on the play here, not doing anything till turn 3, but that's actually kind of okay since we're on the play. Playing against a black deck. They have a turn 1 Thoughtseize. I don't even know what card I care about the most, so I guess it's up to them to decide. Get rid of one of these cards. Probably Blade Splicer, I guess? I don't know. The fact that they get to know everything that's in her hand is actually pretty annoying. Kind of a big deal in a deck with as many counterspells as we have. Alright, they're just going to get rid of Thassa's Intervention, and we draw into Terramander, so now we have a turn 2 play here. Alright, if they play a creature, we'll polymorphist it, so I don't think I need to hold up Supreme Will here. Just play a Blade Splicer. Especially since we drew into the Charming Prince, which can double up the Blade Splicer's enter the battlefield effect next turn. Get another 3/3 out of it. Really go aggro on our opponent. So here's their turn 3 now. They're going to play a Forest and drop a Prosperous Innkeeper. Alright, Blade Splicer's not getting in on the ground. We'll Charming Prince it. Alright, they have 5 mana up thanks to their treasure token, but they are going to cast a Vraska, Golgari Queen.
I'm good at what I do.
She can minus to destroy something that costs 3 or less. probably what's happening here. They're going to kill one of these golems.
People, creatures, they vanish all the time.
We can definitely kill Vraska here. I don't think it's that important to do that, though. I really need to hit a land here. I might consider and try to hit a land so I can consider and hold up Supreme Will. That's a little greedy, but I think I need the land bad enough to try to get to Mind Flayer that's worth the risk. Probably do it pre-combat in case I hit something that really matters during combat. Alright, get out of here, Sharp Typhoon, sorry. You're not a land. Otawara is. Okay. So I could polymorph the Innkeeper and attack everybody. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They get another creature in their hand. I don't know if that's worth it. Don't think I have any other ways to flicker the Blade Splicer. So I guess I could send Blade Splicer in as well, but still unsure that's quite worth it yet.
I won't forgive this.
Alright, now we're holding up Supreme Will. They know we're holding up Supreme Will, but they can't really play around it here at 8 life. We're going to have to cast some really good blockers. Blood Artist is annoying, but I can exile it with Polymorphist. And obviously Supreme Will is not going to counter the Blood Artist here. Could steal it with Mind Flayer and they just can't really win. If I hit a land off this, yeah, let's draw the cards. We do hit a land off of it. Let's get another white source. Alright, no instant speed removal, please. Steal a Blood Artist, and should be really hard for them to win now. They go to 2 life thanks to Blood Artist. Or 1 life, because it's for each player. I forgot how good Blood Artist is. Whenever a creature on the board, period, does not have to be one you own. There's a Noxious Gearhulk, which gains them a little bit of life. Actually, yeah, they shoot Mind Flayer. That's really good here. I don't know if it fully saves them, because they go to 3 thanks to Blood Artist, and then... Yeah, no, it doesn't, because we can now polymorph the Gearhulk. And then we attack all. They block the 3/3 and take 3 before Blood Artist's trigger resolves, which puts them to 0. So the trigger doesn't even get to go on the stack, and we're going to start off 1-0 with the blue-white control deck. Alright, here we are, game 2 on the play. Definite keep here. Gonna have to Charming Prince for no value, unless I really want to hold off till I can flicker Gale, but Gale doesn't actually let you flicker it. You have to cast it to get the value. Alright, let's consider here. Mind Flayer. I need more lands. I can scry with Charming Prince though, so I'll keep it. Scry with Charming Prince, try to find the second blue source. Dry Disruption will work. Play that as our turn 3 play. 1, 2, 3, 4, that'll be 5 lands. Exclude might be okay. Probably not though, because we're just gonna Mind Flayer whatever their biggest creature is in the early turns, and we can't hold up Exclude next turn anyway. So I'm just gonna play the Disruption tapped. Well, now I'm tempted to hold up the Disruption. Because I can still Gale turn 4, and that'll pick up a Consider, and I can try to hit another land off that. This is kind of greedy. I'm probably supposed to just play Dry Rune, so I know I have double blue for Mind Flayer. That's okay, because I don't really want to steal an Ayara. She doesn't really do anything on my board, so we'll counter an Ayara. And now we Gale to bring back... I guess I could even Gale to bring back the Disruption and just play it as a blue land next turn. The guaranteed blue land for next turn, or just cast a Consider next turn. It'll come to play tapped though, which is a problem. The flip side, probably gonna make the flyers. Discard Intervention, make flyers. I'm gonna take Consider. I might be wrong here. Disruption, I would definitely pick up and then just play Ruins, but if I take Consider here, I have the option of discarding a white card and then making some flyers here, casting Consider. And I think that's going to be the play. discard this plains actually, since I drew into that. Now I can consider and make a flyer and see if we hit anything important to play this turn, like a land drop for turn. Polymorphist is good. Got some powerful 6 mana cards in my hand though, and a powerful double blue card. Yeah, it's probably better to dig for the land. Stow away is the next draw. Could trade into Shakedown Heavy or just pass. I will just pass. Deal your 6. We're down to 14. Morbid Opportunist. Okay. There's the blue source. Now I can Mind Flayer this turn. We take the Shakedown Heavy. Hope for no removal from our opponent, because removal is very good here. Kill Mind Flayer, draw a card with Opportunist, get Shakedown Heavy back. But they're mono black, so they probably do have removal. Yawgmoth is not removal. Yawgmoth can what? Kill our 1/1 flyer or something? Gale's a human, but I can turn Yawgmoth's abilities off with Trickster out of nowhere and they won't expect that. So yeah, let's attack everybody. Not the Mind Flayer, though. So Yawgmoth blocks Gale because it's pro-humans? No, they play it super safe. Dang it, I thought that was just going to be free damage. Or a free kill on Yawgmoth. Alright, well, I'm still on Merfolk Trickster. I guess I could Shark Typhoon also. Make the instant speed Shark. Instead, Cavalier of Night. I don't think I can counter that with Merfolk Trickster. I can shut off its abilities, but the ability triggers when it enters the battlefield. The ability's already on the stack. I can't make the ability not happen now. Like, right, if I respond, the abilities will still resolve if they do it. I'm pretty sure that still resolves even if I Trickster in response. But this is fine, because they don't gain any life, and the creature they get back is going to be tapped. So I think Trickster still wins us the game. I guess not quite. I could make a 3/3 Flying Shark and then I just win the game in the sky. Because Trickster, as they tap down the lifelink or attack both, they block, take 1. Yeah, Flyer wins the game. So we do that. It's 4 damage in the sky. Alright, and they scoop them up. That's going to be 2-0 now. Alright, here we go. Game 3. Another great hand to just keep here. I'm going to need another blue source soon, but we've got an opt to dig a little bit. Unfortunately, this is the slow land, not the fast land, so we don't get to Storm Tamer turn 1. I think our opponent took a mulligan here. Alright. Deserted Beach, pass the turn. Legion's Landing from our opponents. That is not wonderful. Charming Prince is a pretty good draw. I can scry towards the blue source and have the blocker for landing. There's the blue source and a disallow. I think I just take the blue source. We're gonna need to hit quite a few more lands to get to this Gearhulk. I guess currently Gearhulk's only gonna recast an opt, which is not particularly great, but you know, could be a thing. Would I rather opt or Storm Tamer? Not really gonna hit them that hard with Storm Tamer. It's also not really gonna block this Gutter Bones, is it? Well, yeah, it threatens to. I'm actually fine with Storm Tamer here. Because then they don't get Gutter Bones back until we lose life, so that'll still deal with it for quite a while. See what you've got here, opponent. Malakir Mire is the land for turn. Send in the gutter bones. Alright, we're gonna hope they don't have other ways to make us lose life for a little while here. So we've dealt with the gutter bones for quite a few turns. Ooh, polymorphist. Cool. So now we have Merfolk Trickster up. I guess I could attack here, but that's going to make it pretty obvious I have Trickster or something. Yeah, whatever. Fine with that. Let's start actually dealing some damage here. Now we play a Trickster, block and kill the 1/1 if they choose to attack here. We make it a 1/1 with no abilities, but Tricksters enter the battlefield effect. Morbid Opportunist. Well, guess I would rather shut off Morbid Opportunist's ability when we play Trickster then. That way they don't draw a card when we kill the 1/1. Wow, Trickster actually ended up really sweet here if they don't have a Disfigure in hand. Or just instant speed, 2 damage. Or instant speed -2/-2. If they have Disfigure in hand, that's brutal. That's actually just perfect for them. Because then they respond with Disfigure, draw the card off Opportunist still, and still hit us with the 1/1 lifelinker. If this is not Disfigure, though, can't think of what it would be. 1 black mana, instant speed. Disfigure would be really rough, though. Actual perfection. In response. Fatal Push. That is just as good as Disfigure. Yep, that's incredible there. Forgot about Fatal Push's existence. Alright, let's opt and we can still play the Polymorphist. That was pretty annoying. Dismiss is also a really annoying draw because we don't have double blue up. Could still hold it so that by the time I play Gear Hulk, maybe I have that engraved to double up. You know what? Fine. This is a little weird, but I think I'm going to do Polymorph the Opportunist here, so we're not going to draw a million cards throughout this game. They'll just get some other card off of it. And then we're just going to sit here and block. Next turn I'm going to dismiss, and the turn after that I'm going to Gear Hulk, recast, dismiss. That's our plan. And we're going to dismiss literally anything they cast. If they play a 1-drop, I'll dismiss it. Kalidas, that's way bigger than a 1-drop. Unfortunately, now is not the turn we have Dismiss mana up. Kalidas is going to destroy us here. Every time our creatures die, they get a 2/2. Ojutai's Command's a good draw. So we have to let Kalidas just hit us, and if Kalidas hits us, they get Gutter Bones back to hand. This is not great. Crypt Breaker turns every land they draw into a 2/2 zombie now. So they're going to go really wide. Do not love our position here. Could actually Ojutai's Command and pick up Merfolk Trickster. That's kind of interesting. Picking up a Merfolk Trickster at instant speed is something. Shut off the abilities at instant speed, shut off Kalidas' abilities, and just double block with 2 2/2s. That could actually really be something here. If they like tap out here to kill my Polymorphist or something. I guess they have the 3 mana. They have a 2/2 zombie. They can. I can't believe this thing can sack. Oh my god. It doesn't even have to be the zombies it makes. It can sack the Crypt Breaker zombies. That's pretty annoying. So it could be a 5/6 in response. So we have to triple block and lose 2 creatures too. Probably still worth killing it. No combat. Opponent prophetic, just mind reading us here. They could have attacked that as a 5/6 on the board state. Alright, well, I'm still commanding to draw a card and have Gear Hulk mana up next turn. And there is the Gear Hulk mana. Okay. I kind of have to just hold back again. Because I can't afford to just trade into a 2/2 and have them immediately replace the 2/2 with Kalidas' effect. So we don't have any good attacks here for sure. They are reading Kalidas a lot. They can make Kalidas a 5/6. We can kill Kalidas by triple blocking, or I can Gear Hulk, but then I'm tapped out and I can't respond to anything going wrong. If I kill Kalidas in a triple block, they're gonna kill 2 of my creatures and get 2 zombies back out of it. Kalidas is so nasty. This card's insane. From the Explorer Anthology, one of the brand new cards to the cube here. Oh. This is just gonna be a really bad time no matter what we do. I guess we just take the damage and let them gain some life. Wait to block it until I have a Gear Hulk on board and a Dismiss up. Yeah, they could even use Crypt Breaker and get another zombie, but they only have the mana to sack one of them. Spawn of Mayhem. Counter a creature, draw a card here, and Gear Hulk. And then I have Dismiss up next turn. I have a 2 mana counterspell in black-white. Or just picking up Gutter Bones or something. Cool. Ooh, Allrund is the draw. I don't have the mana to play that and hold up Dismiss. I could play the Raven, because the Raven, when I hit my opponent with it, I put it back in my hand. Power Word kill my Gear Hulk. Frustrating, especially because they exile it and get a zombie off of it. Sune's Intervention. I can blow up their Legion's Landing. Blow up the Legion's Landing. Do some stuff. I need 6 mana up for that. I have 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. So I can't play the Raven and hold that up. I guess we hold that up. Now they have enough zombies to be drawing off Crypt Breaker. Crypt Breaker plus Kalidas. Working in perfect harmony here too. Kalidas giving them a zombie every time anything we have dies, and Crypt Breaker using those zombies to draw cards. This is a nuts deck from our opponent. Really good stuff from them. They have 6 mana. They can sacrifice 2 things to Kalidas now, which is absolutely absurd. We're just gonna chump block Kalidas with a token so they don't get any more zombies. Although I could also just not block. Still. Give them their lifelink. Not really gonna win until we draw an out to Kalidas either way. They're gonna do that in response to this. So I know exactly how big Kalidas is. Okay. Well, now I know if that's what they're planning on doing with all their mana, then sure, I'll chump. I could block with 4 creatures. They get 2 zombies here, but they lose Kalitas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Next turn I can play Blade Splicer and hold up Dismiss. It's a 3/3 first striker to block with. That holds off the zombies, and then Kalitas is just dealt with. Alright. Exile these 2, get 2 2/2s. Kalitas is gone, and we know Kalitas is going to stay gone because we can counter a reanimation spell if that was their plan. Still 1 mana away from playing Allrind and holding up Dismiss, so we're just going to play Splicer and hold up Dismiss. So now Cryptbreaker gets to keep drawing them cards. It's just 1 extra card per turn at least. And our Allrind can draw us approximately 1 extra card per turn once we get it down, so we'll be pretty even in terms of board state. Maybe still have a shot here. Yeah, we've been pretty even on card draw. They have 21 cards, we have 21 cards. Witch of the Moors. Beginning of your end step, if you gained life, each opponent sacks creature, return 1 from grave to hand. Yeah, no, they sack the vampire and then they bring back Kalitas this turn. That's what they do, they attack him with that to get life link. They don't have any other way to gain life on board though, and I can actually first strike the vampire away currently. This is kind of risky, but I think I actually might want to let that resolve. Then if I hit a land next turn, I can Allrind and still hold up Dismiss for the next thing. You know what? No. It's pretty unlikely. Let's just counter that. Just make sure. There's a lot of random ways for them to get incidental life gain. Gale. Interesting. I could pick up the Dismiss or the Intervention immediately. Probably would just rather Allrind though. Guess I could play Allrind and Gale. Just tap out. Sure. Don't know if 2 2/2s. I mean, currently it does matter. Sure. What are our card types in deck? We have 7 lands, 1 enchantment, 1 planeswalker, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 instants, 1, 2, 3, 4 creatures. So we have more instants than anything else. I probably just choose instants. If I kill any zombie here, they don't Cryptbreaker anymore. So we just attack in with everybody that's a 2/2 or better. Okay, they do Cryptbreaker this turn. Sure. Got a Supreme Will. There was a Supreme Will and 2 islands. Could start holding our lands to make Allrind bigger, but we should probably still be playing them so we can cast more double spells. 5, 6 mana for Intervention, 3 for Supreme Will. I don't think Supreme Will is going to be able to counter anything. Not only is it revealed, but it's pretty late in the game. I guess our opponent still only has 6 mana out, though. We've got 9. Supreme Will could maybe counter something still. Alright, I'm feeling a little more confident now because they don't draw an extra card off of Crypt Breaker every turn anymore. They definitely have more cards in hand than us. If they don't blow up Allrund immediately, Allrund can change that. Yeah, they're just playing Edgar, that's fine. Edgar's really not a big deal at all. And a Blood Artist. A Blood Artist is actually kind of a big deal. Draining us every time a creature dies. I've got to consider... I'd like to flip Gale White, ideally. I guess I could flip Gale White, discarding Intervention. That's a play. Not so sure about that one, but that's a play one could make. Definitely don't want to flip Gale on blue, but Supreme Will isn't exactly doing anything in our hand anyway. At least not doing much. Maybe we just don't flip Gale at all right now, but then we're not attacking at all in any way. Getting those 1/1 flyers is a big deal from the white version of Gale. Alright, I'm gonna do the thing. Goodbye, Intervention. I don't think 2/2s really matter a dramatic amount at this point. I think 1/1 flyers are really important. Dry Disruption, that does not do anything in the grave. Don't want to mill myself. I could very much mill myself here. That is a threat. So now I have creatures equal to the amount of instants, and that's just 3 lands. Now I still have 15 cards in the deck. I'm not going to mill myself. I can just choose sorceries, something I don't have any of in my deck later, or artifacts, to make sure Allrund doesn't mill me. Yeah, I'll be fine. We just need to get a Pegasus army. Go for it. But our opponent has a lot of life gain. Now they have a Priest of Forgotten Gods with their Blood Artist. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana up. I can play double blue and 4, make it so counter unless they pay 8. I feel like when they have Blood Artist plus Priest, that's worth countering. Especially because the Priest can sack Edgar as well, which gives them the whole army in a can thing going on with the coffin. Hopefully that wasn't bait. Have to have a really good hand for the next card to be better, and I actually don't think Junji's better here. It's scary looking, but I think it's actually easier for us to deal with than just getting constantly drained with Blood Arts, especially when we draw into Mind Flayer. Alright, opponent, better have some removal, because Mind Flayer was a beautiful draw. And we're doing our thing. Get in there, Sky Squad. Oh, drew the Stowaway and the Sailor. And Teferi was on top too. We're down to 12 cards in library. Again, we need to keep a pretty firm eye on that and probably stop drawing cards when we're down to 7 or 8. Then we start all running for nothing. Special Sailor was a great draw here. We can afford to cast that and Supreme Will in the same turn. They know about our Supreme Will, so they're not going to play removal that gets countered by it. They actually know about everything in our hand because of Allrund. They're going to Field of Ruin? They're looking at their Field of Ruin. It doesn't really do anything here. Could have just been hovering over it while they're looking at their hand and stuff. They only have 1 card in hand now. And Crypt Breaker is not drawing them more cards till they make another zombie. Might be getting there here. Yeah, things are looking pretty good. Here's a Spectral Sailor. Probably just draw off of Supreme Will, so I get another flyer right now. 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know, I guess just in case they have some bomb 6 drop, I can just keep the will. Shark Typhoon. Ooh. We're gonna kill them in only like 2 swings now. All these flyers. because Shark Typhoon makes a really big one. They're down to 11. Yeah, they're definitely dead in one more swing. We still have Teferi in there. We drew most of the creatures, most of the instants by now. We have Teferi, Exclude, Disallow, and Terra Matter. 2 instants, both of which fully counter a spell. Yeah, we'll go instant here. If we draw one of those, okay. I was gonna say, if we draw one of those, then we're even safe against even a really cheap spell. Exclude only counters creatures, though, does not counter non-creatures. So if they have a non-creature like Farewell here, they actually do now have the mana to pay the 3 for Supreme Will, because they have 9 mana now. So Supreme Will clears the board, and then I would just like Shark Typhoon after the Supreme Will, and still kill them in like 2 swings. I think we still win through a Farewell. Or any Wrath effect like Farewell. That would be the biggest non-creature thing I can think of them having here. Obviously, as I said, any big creature here will exclude. What have you got going, opponent? Got 1 card in hand. So we have 5, 6, 7, 8 flying power on the board. I only need to make a 3/3 shark to guarantee lethal next turn if they don't have removal. So in interest of keeping up Supreme Will or Exclude for something weird, I'm going to spend all but 3 mana on the Shark Typhoon, which would be 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, it's going to be, it's for 4. Yeah. Okay, so for 4. So I'm still holding up Supreme Will and Exclude. And I have more than lethal in this guy. Now we have Disallow up, and there's nothing that can stop this. Disallow off the top confirms guaranteed lethal. And they scoop them up. That was nice stuff. We got through the, I don't even remember its name, that new vampire thing that spits out those zombies every time one of your creatures dies. That thing was scary, that thing was nasty, but we fought it out. We grinded for a really long, hard-fought win there, and it's going to be 3-0 now as we head into round 4. Alright, here we go in game 4 here, 3-0 so far. Pretty good hand. Trickster on turn 2, Polymorphist turn 3, our late game intervention, and an Exclude to hold up. I like it a lot. It's got great mana. We have double white and double blue already available. Playing against another blue-white deck. I'm playing Aethersphere Harvester this turn. Alright, let's just play Trickster. So you can play any creature next turn and crew that, get in for 3 lifelink in the sky. A little annoying. I don't think that's good enough to not want to just play Blade Splicer this turn, though. Let them get whatever creature they want, if they have a creature to drop. And then next turn we go like Storm Tamer and Polymorph whatever creature it is if we need to get rid of it for now. If not, we can play like Storm Tamer and hold up Exclude. Lots of options to do with our 4 mana next turn. Could definitely see the argument for just held up Exclude instead of Splicer here, so we know they're not crewing this Harvester this turn. But my argument against is, oh, we just got Polymorphous to get rid of the thing for now. Oh, and no creature this turn, so that just works out well for us. Just touch the Spirit Realm, the Golem. And now we can just still hold up the Exclude, because there's definitely no reason to play the Polymorph. I might as well have attacked before I played that, but whatever. Alright. Only 2 mana away from the Sune's Intervention now, which is huge here. Blow up the Harvester and the Touch the Spirit Realm. I guess blowing up the Touch the Spirit Realm doesn't really do anything, because they chose to exile a token, so it's moderately rough. adversary. Play an adversary so they can crew their harvester. Sure. They're going to hold it off for blocks, or they're just going to get some life gain going here. Sure, they're just going to gain 3 right now. Sure thing. I don't really want to exile this adversary. I think I'm going to hold on to the polymorphist still. And just play dismiss this turn. If they cast something big. Just have a 1/1 to block the adversary. It's probably crewing harvester, but I'm going to still hold up the 1/1 so they can't just gain 3 on the ground if they play another creature to crew harvester. I guess that'd only be if the other creature resolves, which does not look likely with dismiss in hand. We'll see what's coming on here. OG? Yeah, let's just not. OG's annoying enough to counter. We can't counter their Champion of Wits anyway, because it's an ability, not a spell. So there's only one other possible spell in their hand for us to counter, so I doubt it's going to be that much better than OG. OG doesn't really do a ton here, but don't want to just hold this counter up forever, especially since it draws us a card when we cast it. And we drew another counter spell. You know, at this point I can intervention to block the adversary. Attack everybody here. Stormwing Entity. That seems fine by me. Yeah, I'm actually pretty okay with that. I'm going to hold the counter spell and we're going to polymorph that maybe. Alright, here's intervention. I might as well blow up the Touch the Spirit Realm in case they have some way to flicker it. But I'm definitely blowing up the Aethersphere Harvester. I feel like it's more likely they can flicker it on board than out of grave. Terramander's the draw. Pretty sweet. Oh, Tawara, I can just bounce their creature back to hand for now. Can't afford to disallow that same turn, but it might be worth it. Actually, this to bounce the token is insane. Yeah, I can afford to play the polymorph and counter whatever they get off of it. So we'll do that. And I'm going to hold this in hand so I can bounce their 4/4 token if they ever try to eternalize Champion of Wits. Inspiring Overseer. Yeah, I think I counter that. Gain a life and draw a card and have a 2/1 flying blocker. Mole Drifter. That's draw 2, but they can't afford to keep it on board, so they're just dead, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Exact lethal. Alright. That'll do it. Tapped out. Exact lethal on board. That is going to be, what, 4-0 here? I believe that's going to be 4-0 now for the blue-white control deck. Super, super nasty stuff all around. Deck is functioning on all fronts. Okay, here we are in game 5. Slower hand here again. We're on the draw though. If we start drawing a bunch of lands, we could just Disruption turn 2. If not, we'll have to play that as Ruins, but then we have Exclude, Supreme Will, Gale on 4. Gonna keep it. Hopefully our opponent isn't super aggressive because they're on the play. So if they're aggro and on the play, this could go really bad for us. And they started with a mountain, so I am concerned. I might have to play Jwari Disruption just so I can counter one of their cheap spells. Yeah, they're Boros here. As much as I will probably end up needing this as a land later, I think it's more important to make sure we can counter their first spell they play this next turn here. 'Cause there's a lot of stuff that's like a 3-mana 3/3 haste and stuff like that. They're going to be pretty brutal if they get it on the board before we have our counter magic up. Wow, that's perfect. That gets around Draw Disruption. You got it. Unfortunate. Drop our Spectral Sailor then. They're just going to burn it away. That would be fine. Then we hold up Exclude and Supreme Will next turn. Alright, we are still hitting lands, so Draw Disruption might be a thing that we get to play instead of playing the land version, the Dwari Isle. Okay, they are going to shoot the Sailor. I'm going to let it resolve. I'm not going to spend a counter spell to stop them from killing our 1/1. We're going to have to use all of our mana to just help keep them off their other plays here. Keep stuff off of their board. Our 1/1 flyer is not going to be able to trade or block anything well ever. Okay, get in with the Battlecry Goblin. They did not buff it, so they're holding something up here. Hopefully it's not something instant speed. It would be pretty sad to see it be an instant speed play. Great. Well, I could Supreme Will and then they'll just respond with their instant. Past my turn, I'm just going to play a land and hold up counters again. I'm going to hold on to Supreme Will for now. Merfolk Trickster is beautiful. I can play Trickster and block the Battlecry Goblin and hold up Disruption still. That's the perfect draw. It's really, really good here. On the plus side, if they just keep playing around all our counter spells, then they're just not putting anything on the board. We'll just take 2 a turn until we can cast a Gear Hulk and just win because we can cast a Gear Hulk. Lysel. Okay. Best Draw Disruption ever. Maybe they just didn't have 3-drop plays. Now we just counter everything they do for the rest of time. Oh yeah, Ojutai's Command as well. So many cards that'll counter spell and draw a card. I think I'd rather play the more expensive one here, Ojutai's Command. Could counter that and put Merfolk Trickster on board. Ojutai's Command's so much cooler. I'm gonna actually just exclude. Hold Ojutai's Command for later because it's more flexible later. Alright, now we have the mana for Gear Hulk coming up. Nothing. Okay. Now we have the mana for Gear Hulk immediately. And a ton of counter spells now. Nothing to cast off Gear Hulk now, though. Yeah, I should have went for Ojutai's Command because that's castable off of Gear Hulk. Unlike the other counterspell, that was a bit of a punt. That didn't end up playing how I would have preferred. If I hit another land, I can Gale and still hold up a 3-mana counter. So we play like Supreme Will here to draw the other land we need. Okay, none of these are the other land that we need, but that's fine because Dismiss is nuts. And there's the other land we need, so it did dig towards them. Drop Gale and we're still holding up 3 mana for Disallow, or Supreme Will that we're going to reveal here. Or Exclude. I'd rather have Exclude. Just draw cards off everything they cast. Now if they cast a non-creature spell, we disallow. If they cast a creature, then we exclude. And in the future we have Dismiss up, and Ojutai's Command, and we have a Gear Hulk. We'll take Visionary, fine. Your second spell this turn can resolve. No second spell this turn. Maybe I should have flipped Gale on white there. I probably should have. Just flip Gale on white, and then every time we counter something, we're getting a 1/1 flyer as well. Rather than playing that land. Champions of Tyr. Counter a creature, draw a card, and now we have the card for Gearhulk Engrave. I'm just never going to flip this Gale now, because I'm holding up all my mana for 50 counter spells. But that's fine. If nothing my opponent casts resolves, they have no way to win the game. It's okay if we kill them a little more slowly. Every counterspell being counterspell draw a card is so ridiculous. Still have counter mana up after Teferi because of the end step ability.
I know.
Yeah, they're over it, and I would be too. That was a ridiculous lineup of draws this game we drew. I'm pretty sure every single counterspell in our deck that says counterspell and draw a card. Just 2-for-1 counterspells all over the place, just looping into each other. Really, really rude stuff that game, and that's going to lead into 5-0 no matter what. Getting all of our money back and 3 random cards for free, including 2 rares. Really nice run out of this Arena Cube draft. Alright, opponent is on the play this time. We've got a really nice hand. Consider Charming Prince and Supreme Will. We've got our late game Torrential Gearhulk, our mid game Gale for some value. Opponent has Gigantha, so they have no cards that cost like double red or double white or anything in their deck. I'll keep a Blade Splicer. That makes me not want to play Charming Prince turn 2 though, which is a little awkward. So hopefully our opponent's not that aggro and we can take a turn off here. But they are Boros. Gigantha makes me feel like they could be more colors though, and that is the third color, green, red, white. A little harder to be aggro in 3 colors. So you'll often need to set up mana and stuff. And this isn't that bad. Aether Sphere Harvester is good, but it only adds 1 more power to their board, because now instead of attacking me for 2, they're attacking for 3. I guess if they play another creature, it kind of basically has haste. Yeah, let's Blade Splicer here. Don't love that all their stuff is in the sky right now. It's their own Blade Splicer. That's really good with Aether Sphere Harvester because it crews for only 1. Vehicles in Kaladesh were really powerful. They were the most powerful they've ever been because that was the first time they ever made them. So some of them were so busted they got banned, like Smuggler's Copter. But Aether Sphere Harvester, also pretty dang good. Not quite ban-worthy though. Just had a lot of vehicles with really cheap crew costs like that. Okay, we're probably just dying in the sky here because our opponent resolved a bunch of flying threats before we had counter mana. Is there anything we can do about that? I could gain some life with Charming Prince instead of flickering here. Counter their next spell in case they play another flyer here. I really don't know. Play a Haka that does not block a 3/5. Block the 2/1 though. Yeah, I suppose I can go Charming Prince and Haka this turn, so I keep Remorseful Cleric off of me and I'm only getting hit by the Harvester. But still, getting hit by Harvester is still going to put me down to 10. I'm still dying pretty fast, but I think that's my best line here. I think it's better than just banking on my opponent playing something that I really need to counter. So I don't have something really good to do if I'm not countering a spell, if I just pass turn. Night of Autumn. That blows up our golem, I guess. It's fine. Still just a 2/1 body. We can block that with our 1/1. And our golem wasn't helping block the flyer anyway, so yeah, that's all fine. Alright. Starting to feel like we've got a chance of stabilizing here. We need to keep hitting lands, though. Because we need to make sure we can block everything except the Harvester for the rest of this game, pretty much. And we're going to need to get a way to deal with Harvester sooner rather than later. But yeah, just taking 3 a turn now. Deserted Beach is a good draw. I could Gale and consider. But I think I'd rather hold up the counters to make sure the threats on the ground don't get any better. And I'm just going to keep this as the Whispering Raven rather than trying to recast it as all run just to keep Cleric off me. At 10 life here, can't really play this out as a non-flyer and start taking 5 a turn because that kills me in 2 turns. It's just going to kill me way too fast. So I can only afford to cast one of my counter spells this turn, so we'll keep that in mind based on whatever they do here. Venerated Loxodon, holding the 3 mana up. So they have the 3 mana up for Supreme Will. Actually have 4 mana up, but I can counter it unless they pay 6 with Thassa's Intervention. Hopefully they don't have a great follow-up to this, because I feel like that's good enough. I should counter it here. Making their other flyer a 3/2 so it can attack into Haka and trade with it at worst. Making their ground troops big enough to trade off with Charming Prince, and just our Blade Splicer just chumps. Okay, Arena. That's beautiful. That's a nice bug. So our opponent has put their Gigantha into their hand. Aethersphere Harvester has been crewed, and we're going to get hit for 3 again, so that is still the big deal here. And we're just going to have to enjoy the Selesnya logo for the rest of the game, I think. Thank you, Venerated Loxodon. Very cool. So hold up Supreme Will, which means we play Terramander here. Terramander, if I adapt it, is going to be big enough to block Aethersphere Harvester. This could be really good for us. Could be enough. Pass turn, hold up Supreme Will. Supreme Will their Gigantha here. Showed on the Scalds, it's way better than Gigantha, and it is going to get Supreme Willed. They only have 2 mana up after that. Lotus Cobra. So Lotus Cobra certainly resolves. Aethersphere Harvester gets in one last time, and then we crew Terramander here, and if they don't top deck something good, they just play a Gigantha on the ground and get no attacks in next turn. That's the hope. I guess I only have 4 blockers for their 6 attackers, but I only take like 2 damage because I only let the 1/1s through. Yeah, we kind of have to adapt Terramander here. I don't have any interaction in grave to shoot the Harvester. Yeah, so it's make Terramander big enough to block Aethersphere Harvester. Hope they don't attack, and then Gear Hulk next turn when they do have enough creatures to attack, because they'll have Gigantha at that point. Oh, this is stressful. Over just chilling at 4 life here. Alright, well, it's already resolved, so still be a 5/5. That worked out pretty well. We got to kill their Remorseful Cleric for fun. I did not even realize that interaction, but yeah, I guess they could have they could have during their end step exile or grave, and then we couldn't have Terramandered, and Aethersphere Harvester would still just be killing us. So I did not even notice that. Yeah, now we're definitely on Torrential Gearhulk, except Gearhulk's a lot worse now because they did just exile our graveyard, but it's still going to be the play, a 5/6 out of nowhere to block Giganta. I definitely don't have attacks into their 3/5 flyer. I guess I could attack with Terramander, but then I take 3 in the sky back, which is not good. We're at 4 life here. If they don't attack to where we need Gearhulk, we can cycle Shark Typhoon first. Okay, if they attack with Giganta, I think we just need Gearhulk. We just say no to the Gearhulk value. Sadly. So, Remorseful Cleric still did work, even if the timing was a little weird. It still stopped us from drawing a card off Supreme Will or something while we killed Giganta. Reclamation Sage post-combat. What? That was a good draw. That's really sad. That was the right turn. That was the turn we were going to play an artifact. Disruption's never countering anything. So we dropped that. I'm not going to play Shark Typhoon. I'm going to flash it in as another flyer and draw a card. Oh dear. Can make a 4/4 flyer, I guess. I suppose I could have attacked with Terramander, but still at 4 life feels risky. We have a lot of 2-for-1s in our deck. Hopefully we can just loop those enough to draw better than our opponent can. Uh-oh. This is removal or a combat trick or something. Hopefully it's just straight up sorcery speed removal so I can just Shark Typhoon and still kill the Harvester. I have to double block it though with the Shark and the Haka and let Haka die. It's not ideal. Jamoka's Command. Put +1/+1 counter on the Harvester and have it fight Haka. Okay, so we can still block all day with Terramander, but Haka's gone now, which is bad. That is very bad. There's another main deck enchantment removal card. Target player sacks an enchantment. I'm very glad I'm not just trying to cast Shark Typhoon. Whoa, okay. I guess that's lethal on board, but I don't think it's lethal to Shark Typhoon. Okay, so we kill that, don't lose a creature. Move over slash anything. 2/1, 2/1, 2/1. Yeah, kill a 2/1, kill a 2/1, kill a 2/1. We take 2 damage. They're down to 2/1/1s on their board. Okay, that worked really well for us. Shark Typhoon was huge. Good lord. Yeah, now they have 2 1/1s, and that's it. I still have no enchant or instance engraved for Gale, so let's just opt. Hold up a dismiss. Oh my god, intervention's beautiful. Gain some life, get some 2/2s. I get to attack in here too now. Because I'll be at 6 life with 2 2/2s to block with. They just hit a land here. Attack both, and that's just gonna crumble them. That's their whole board gone, and we're up to 6. Good lord, I don't think we're lethal yet, but we are basically guaranteed the win. We have the counterspell in hand for whatever they want to do. Rather hold that up than Gale here. I guess I could have Galed and held up Dismiss. That can't be countered, but I still have lethal in the sky. Alright, this has been a sick draft run here. No matter what happens from this point on, a 6-0 start. Always very, very impressive, and we are very up in value now, getting 1,000 gold extra and 3 cards out of this. So super nice run with our blue-white control deck here, and let's head into what may be the final boss. See if we can't get a nice 7-0 run again. Here we are in Game 7 on the play with a Stowaway turn 2, Counterspell up turn 3. I'm absolutely loving it. Definite keep here. This could be the final boss if we win. We are undefeated so far, and the draft does end at 7 wins. So we'll see what we can do here. I definitely like the start. Turn 2 Stowaway into holding up instance on turn 3 is always great. Do not like to see that I'm playing against red. One of the scariest matchups always. They can try to just play a bunch of cheap enough creatures to get on the board underneath my counters. But it's green-red, and it's green-red ramp with Incubation Druid, so I am much less worried now. This, I think, could be a pretty good matchup for me. We'll see how it goes. But for now, we're going to flip our Stowaway so that we get to start fully drawing a card with it in the future. For now, we'll draw a card, discard this land, because we've got 4 already. Hopefully our opponent cannot cast 2 spells here and flip back to daytime, because if they can't, the Seafaring Werewolf is just an absurd magic card if this gets to stay as the 2/1 side. Just an unblockable creature that draws us a card every time we hit our opponent. So there's a Targnar from our opponent. I'm probably going to go ahead and counter that here. I'll go for the Disallow and hold up Intervention next turn. Hopefully that wasn't bait and they have the removal spell for Werewolf. They don't. They have Mana Ramp though, which means they did cast 2 spells in 1 turn. We don't get to fully draw a card here, which is a little sad. But it's probably fine. I might discard Allrund weirdly enough. We'll see. Based on what we draw here. Otawara. I'm going to discard the island because Otawara is cooler. But yeah, since I have 4 lands, I'll just keep those. Discard the 5th one. Got plenty of other card draw. They have more than enough to pay for Supreme Will. Actually, Orthos's Intervention awkwardly. I guess I should have Intervention last turn because they did play Mana Ramp already. I could make a surprise Shark and kill that though. Trade a Shark into it and draw a card is not a bad deal. If they just dump mana into giving it haste. Play a Dryad Greenseeker. That can draw them cards. It just draws them lands though. It does dig them towards their next plays. That's fine, I think. We still hold the counters here. They do have the 2 mana to give Battlecry Goblin haste here if they want to send it in. Unfortunately, they played 2 spells again, but that means they're down to 1 card in hand, so it's very unlikely they double spell us next turn. Probably might. Oh, that is a heck no. We're keeping this Werewolf. Which way am I countering this? Supreme Will's cheaper to cast, but Intervention can maybe counter bigger spells, or it draws more cards. I guess I do Supreme Will here. Hold on to the Intervention. Okay. Ooh, Blade Splicer. 1/1 and a 3/3 on the board. It's pretty good. Try to hit a land here, discard Allrund or Shark Typhoon, probably Allrund. Did not hit a land, but Merfolk Trickster is pretty good here too. Might be discarding Shark Typhoon just because of how expensive it is. Huh. It's pretty good though. Like, trade into Battlecry Goblin and draw a card. It's a really good deal. It's castable already. I guess I'm discarding Allrund. But a 3/3 First Striker keeps Battlecry Goblin off of us anyway, so I think I'm playing Blade Splicer this turn. Hope they just don't draw anything sweet for 1 turn here. Have the shields down for a turn. Although I guess the other benefit of just passing turn is we do flip back to night. But again, if they didn't draw a card this turn, then it'll still flip to night anyway, if they just hit a land off top. Yep, Adapt the Druid. Starting to look like they just hit a land off the top. We get to flip to nighttime anyway. They don't have a good attack. We flip to nighttime. We've got a Gear Hulk in hand. Now we get to fully draw cards. Don't have to discard things. Makes our choices way easier. Oh yeah, now we've got a Hengegate Pathway. Now we have 5 mana up. We have Shark Typhoon or Trickster or Thassa's Intervention. It's feeling really good now. We've got a Gear Hulk later. Scavenging Ooze. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. We can't actually counter that well. So that's going to resolve, and it can exile our stuff from grave and stop Torrential Gear Hulk from doing anything. It's actually pretty rough. That is really good here. I can counter unless they spend 6. They spend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have exactly enough. Yeah, pretty good. I guess I can get them to tap out here so they don't exile anything immediately. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm actually just gonna make their mana all get soaked up here. And they don't get to exile anything, so if I do hit the land next turn for Gear Hulk, well, first of all, I know they don't cast 2 spells this turn, so I know that it's Werewolf's still going to be nighttime, and then I know that if they don't just like play a forest here, the next turn, if I hit a land, I can Gear Hulk and just like Supreme Will, while I know that that's I know that it's not going to get exiled by Ooze, because if I wait, then Ooze is just going to stop whatever I'm doing. So hopefully we hit a land here and we can just Gear Hulk during our turn to draw a card off of it. No, we don't. That is unfortunate. We're still in a pretty good position. Don't have to be super worried here, but our Gear Hulk's not going to be that great. It's still going to be a 5/6 blocker out of nowhere, which is cool. Terramander's pretty bad here now as well. Yeah, just hold up a Dismiss. Could play Terramander and still hold up the Dismiss, so I might as well. I was like, that's going to guarantee they're going to start exiling cards from my grave, but they were going to do that anyway. They might just focus on instants and sorceries before creatures, though, since I have Terramander. Alright, Greenseeker's still doing its thing. Gets a land here. Balagad Recovery, return Primal Might, you got it. I guess I should have countered that, because I'm going to counter the Primal Might anyway, but then they don't cast 2 spells this turn. Oh, Helena and Elena as well. They don't have another green source here. And Helena and Elena's ridiculous. We're going to counter that. Well, I'm glad I did not counter Balagad Recovery then, but it is going to go back to daytime. No green sources up means now's another... I have the turn to play the Gear Hulk here. However, if I do that, my shields are down and they can Primal Might whatever they want. But that's probably fine. Because they're going to Primal Might and hold up a green, most likely. Because they're just going to Primal Might without tapping Incubation Druid at the very least. How much does this cost me right now? This costs me 4 mana. I can still play Merfolk Trickster after that. You know what? I'm gonna go for big damage here. And then just go for a Trickster. They're gonna get like 1 Primal Might attack, and I can tap down wherever they buff with the Primal Might, so now they have to kill Terramander. And then I'll still have a Shark Typhoon to use to play a Giant Flyer. We're still at 20, they're going to be pretty low. Even if they gain some Scavenging Ooze life, we can kill them pretty fast with a Shark from Shark Typhoon. This doesn't get rid of +X/+X, does it? No. Just gets rid of abilities. Alright, we cast no spells, so Werewolf flips as well. They only have 1 spell to cast this turn, so Werewolf will still be around. It'll be completely unblockable, because they can't afford to not kill Terramander, so that's what they're doing with Primal Might. If we're really lucky, they dump literally all of their mana into Primal Might, just to try to get more damage in. But I think they know we can just chump block with Blade Splicer, so they'll hold up all their green, all their bonus green. Just do it for a green and 4 or something here. A green and 5 maybe if they use the Guardian Idol. Yep, they're holding up all their green sources. They have 4 green mana up thanks to Incubation Druid. So they can exile all kind of stuff with the Scavenging Ooze. Primal Might on the Battlecry Goblin because it will make them another blocker here. Interesting they're not killing Terramander. So we're threatening a lot of damage in the sky. Alright. I'll tap down the Goblin before attacks so that they don't get another 1/1 here. Whoa, 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 whoa. Why can't I play this? Oh, okay, there we go. I thought it was moving immediately into they get to declare their attackers. Alright, so they get to do all their scavenging ooze stuff, but Terramander's still going to kill them in like 3 attacks. Now they have to draw removal for that. Cool. And we're probably just making another shark token here during their turn, during their end step. Alright, time to gain 4 life off this scavenging ooze. Yep. Yep. Now would be my last opportunity to get Gear Hulk value, if I'm that desperate for it, but just playing the flyer has to be better than just playing a Gear Hulk so that I know I can draw 1 Supreme Will card. Tovalar's Huntmaster, hello there. Welcome to the board. Another wolf or werewolf? Yeah, so only 2/2s get to fight, so they don't get to kill anything here. So they're still going to die next turn, thanks to Shark Typhoon. I think they were hoping Battlecry Goblin would give the whole board haste here, but Battlecry Goblin only gives the goblins haste. So they did tap the Druid for Battlecry Goblin's ability, rather than hold up the mana for Scavenging Ooze. Or Tovalar's Pack Leader's ability. Alright, pass turn here, big old Shark Typhoon time. I believe it's for 5? Yes, it is. Shark Typhoon is a very stupid magic card. Instant speed, uncounterable flyer that draws you a card when you play it. And that's going to be that. That's going to be another 7-0 run in the Arena Cube Draft. We 7-0'd with our Black-White Aristocrats deck. Now we have 7-0'd with the Blue-White Control deck, and we get a random mythic reward, the Moonveil Regent from Innistrad Midnight Hunt. Super, super sweet draft here. We're going to get 6,000 gold and 3 cards out of it. Completely undefeated, obviously. That's just a sweet draft anytime you go undefeated. Yeah, Torrential Gear Hulk's just a huge card. If, like, we weren't going to be blue initially, I think. I don't even remember what we started. It was, like, green or something? Yeah, we started green with, like, Huntmaster, Dryad, Greenseeker. Oh, yeah, we started with Minsk and Boo. Ended up green with like Huntmaster, Greenseeker. Took a little bit of blue because there was some good blue getting passed to us, but then that late Torrential Gear Hulk, that was like pick 5, 6 at least. That is really late for Gear Hulk. This card is just absurd. That was a huge sign to hop into blue, and we certainly did, and we got really rewarded for it. We got all of the sick 2-for-1 counter spells like Dismiss, Exclude, all of the flexible counter spells like Supreme Will and Thassa's Intervention. Just ended up just being a really, really awesome deck. Gave us that 7-0 victory here. Not too much else to say about it. Just everything came in, worked really well. Shark Typhoon was nuts. Just a really great deck, and had a really fun time with it. So great draft overall. We'll check out our rewards here as I sign off for the day. But yeah, that is going to end today's draft. We've got some really great stuff on the horizon. If you're unaware, on August 18th, that is this Thursday, very soon by the time this gets uploaded, maybe in like 2 days, we have the Wizards Presents event, where Wizards is going to talk about all of the upcoming sets for the next year, all of the projects they're working on. So we're going to hear more about Dominaria United, the Brothers War, and all of the unnamed sets that we don't know that are coming out next year. And we'll probably this is my guess, it's not a guarantee, we'll probably hear a tiny bit about the Lord of the Rings set, because they did officially announce they're going to make a Lord of the Rings set, and the last we heard was they said it was going to come out in 2023. Since that's just next year now, maybe we'll get to hear when it releases at least. Maybe we'll get a little bit of artwork or something. That could be really cool. The only information I'm particularly interested in about that is when it's coming out and if it's coming to Arena. But who knows? We're definitely getting a bunch of great information about any other Magic sets coming out that year. Definitely getting more Dominar United and Brothers War info. Very excited for that. So on the 18th, I'll have a video reaction of that event, but you can also just catch it live at Magic's official Twitch channel, or you can catch my reaction live at my Twitch channel in the link in the description below. So that is the big news coming soon. Other than that, Kaladesh Remastered drafts are going to be back in about a week or something now. And then Amonkhet Remastered drafts after that, and then Dominar United at the start of September. But until then, plenty more Arena Cube drafts in the meantime. I'm having a lot of fun with the format, and I'm going to keep them up. Daily videos, so yeah, that's pretty much it. As always, at the end of the video, if you'd like to catch some more of these videos, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to let the YouTube algorithm know to send you some more of these in your recommended feeds. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.